Hello, good people of the internet. My name is NX and welcome back to a Let's Play of Heart of Iron, the third edition that was made by Paradox Interactive. And last time we took over Ethiopia and we destroyed the Ethiopian menace. Let's turn to political map mode. And I am very sad right now. And you're probably asking, NX, why are you so sad right now? It's because I just recorded an hour of this game. And, it turned out Audacity crashed, and I was talking to nothing, and I was an idiot, but I got a lot of good footage, and, you know, kind of sad that I lost that, but I've come back. I'm going to redo all that. Luckily, I didn't delete the save. I made a second save, just in case something like this did happen. So, I'm back at the, May 1936 save, so let's get going. Yeah, and it's sad because, you know, I did get a lot of really good footage. I went on some funny rants, some actual interesting rants, and, you know, it was all natural, but I won't try and force anything this time, you know. I'll just talk about what comes to my head. It was a pretty, you know, there's not a lot of excitement, gonna be a lot of excitement in the next hour of recording. The diplomacy is whacking out. I played until January 1st, 1937, so that's what I'm going to do again, and hopefully this time it goes a lot better than last time, and that Audacity doesn't crash. So yeah. So not much going on. The British, those damn dirty Brits. Damn dirty Brits. Oh yeah, and last time, you know, we met the people at Mogadisco, so that's good. Mogadisco, gotta love Mogadisco, do 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 do. I, staying alive, staying alive. Ah, yeah, I'm John Travolta. Ah. Sorry, that was kind of a high-pitched voice. So let's look how everything is going. Diplomacy's going well. Germany still can't join their faction. Too bad. Production, we're producing some planes and some industrial capacity. Politics, you know, we've got Vittorio is still our president, and Mussolini is still our head of government. I did do some reading on Italian fascism and an Italian World War II history. It was very, very interesting, actually. Let's go back to the politics tab. It turns out that when the Allies invaded Sicily in I believe it was 1942 or 43 or 43. Vittorio actually started negotiating. He was the king of Italy at the time. He started negotiating with the Allies because they'd invaded Sicily. You know, the people were a bit mad about that. He started negotiating with them, and he actually got Italy to join the Republic of Italy, or something, whatever the Italy was called at the time. I'm not 100% sure, but he got he got the Allies to accept Italy into the Allies, and, you know, he expelled Mussolini. So Mussolini went to the north and created his own new country called something like the Fascist Republic of Italy. And he went to war with the Southern Republic, but, you know, he got stomped out. And I think he got executed for war crimes, if I remember correctly. Most of the fascist leaders did, and one of the ones that didn't was the Emperor of Japan, the Showa Emperor, who was emperor at the time, also known as Hirohito, was his first name, but the Japanese emperors aren't referred to by their birth names. They're referred to by their era, the era of their reign, which would have been, for him, would have been the Showa era. Well, during their time of ruling, they are known as the reigning emperor, and then when they die, they are renamed the Showa Emperor or the Meiji Emperor or whatever their era was called. So that's an interesting fact about the Japanese emperors. And so yeah, Mussolini was executed for war crimes, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me. He was one of the few Axis leaders of the three. He was the only member of the three major Axis that was Japan. Um, he didn't. Emperor Hirohito um, surrendered because of the dropping the bombs that got dropped. And an interesting fact is that Emperor Hirohito, or the Showa Emperor, or the reigning emperor during World War II, or whatever you want to call him, was actually anti-nuclear. He ceased their their theoretical nuclear research in like the 1930s. He said actually that what was it? He said, "I believe that by further researching nuclear weaponry, we will bring about the end of the world." Something along those lines. Don't quote me exactly on that. That's not exactly what he said, but that's a accurate estimation of what he said. So yeah. Which I always find interesting. And you see this little pocket, Germany. I'm not exactly sure how Germany got this little pocket. I think it might have gone all the way back to when they were Prussia, and they had this sort of pocket. But I think it was this area. I'm not sure. I'm not a huge German historian. I know a lot about their World War II history, but I don't know a lot about their history before that. Oh, a lot of advances, and we're gonna go to technology and do what we did in the last thing, and we are going to take this, and we are going to go to, well, we should be able to get desert war things. Small arms. Small arms hasn't finished yet. It will finish in literally like a few hours. So we'll finish that, and we've canceled agriculture, so now we can get that. And what I'm gonna do is, I noticed that we're not spending all of our diplomacy points, so I'm gonna put this to 9 and lower our diplomacy point making. So that's good. Okay, small arms advanced. And production. I really love the music in this game. Oh yeah, what was I talking about before? Yes, this pocket. It's interesting. What actually caused World War II, of course, or caused the Allies to go declare war on Germany, which in hand started World War II, was the fact that Germany invaded Poland. It's interesting the reason that Germany actually invaded Poland was, you see this city here and this area here. They wanted to they asked Poland, can we please, have these areas here so we can sort of build a route to trade via land, or transport supplies via land to this bit here. Because, that just makes sense. Our country should be sort of connected. They're so close together, why don't you give us this little strip of land? And Poland was like, no, we really would rather not do that. We sort of like having this port. It's our only, we'd be a landlocked country if we gave you that area. And Germany was like, oh, come on, man. We're gonna invade you if you don't give us this stuff. And Poland was like, yo, that's not cool. And United Kingdom and France were like, that's not cool either, bro. You can't say that, man. That's just not cool. So if you invade Poland, we're gonna invade you, okay, Germany? Because, it's not cool to just go around invading people like that. We're fine if you, annex Austria and Czechoslovakia, because, they agreed to that. But invading people is just not cool. That's what France and United Kingdom said. And then they were like, Russia is pretty awesome too. So Russia, do you think that Germany should be allowed to invade Poland? And then Russia's like, really, we do not care if Germany invade Poland or not. We don't really care. It's kind of stupid to us. We don't worry about your small little Eastern Europe, no Western Europe problems. We do not care about this. We are too busy over here, being awesome in Russian, so we don't care at all. And then United Kingdom and France were like, oh, come on, bro, why are you so not gonna help us? And then Germany said to Soviet Union, Germany, no, Soviet Union, this is my German voice, it is very bad. But they said to the Soviet Union, they said, Soviet Union, will you, if we invade Poland, we give you part of this section of Poland, and if we do this, then will you help us fight the French and the United Kingdom when they declare war on us? But we do not think they will, because we know that they were pussies, and that they are Democrats, and that they will not listen to their word. They will not obey their pact with Poland. So it's no problem. You can also have Finland and Estonia and Latvia if you like. We take part of Lithuania just a little bit, but you have majority of that too. And then you have this part of Poland. How about you like that? Yeah. And then Soviet Union was like, this sounds like a good idea to me. I think that this is good because we get much more land for not really doing anything, because Germany going to invade Poland for us. We can just take over Finland and Estonia, Latvia. They have very tiny army, very tiny penis. So we just invade them very easily, no problem at all. And so we will do this. And then Germany was like, hee hee hee. Ooh, we got the not the Germans, we got the Soviets to join our alliance, haha. And then they're like, we invade Poland, Blitzkrieg. And then they invade Poland, and then France and United Kingdom are like, oh no, we're going to invade you, Germany. And then Germany's like, hee hee, no you're not. And then they like invade all this area here in Denmark and Norway. I think they invaded Norway. I'm not 100% sure about that. Don't quote me, though they do invade Norway a lot in this game. They invade France, and they're like, ha ha ha, we invade northern France and Vinci France, and Italy invade parts of this, and ha ha ha. And then United Kingdom's like, that's not cool, bro. But then Germany just bombs the United Kingdom, like, we don't care, man, we don't care. And we're wasting a bunch of production. But let me finish my retelling of World War II. And then the United States is like, man, what's cool what's going on there is not cool, but we can't do jack because you know what? We're non-interventionist. And then Japan's like, oh no, they're non-interventionist. We don't know that because we don't understand what non-interventionist means. So we've invaded nationalist China, but America and the Netherlands have embargoed us, and so have the UK. So we're getting literally no resources. We have no natural resources. We're out of oil, we're out of iron, all that stuff. We've got to invade the Dutch East Indies. But you know what? If we invade the Dutch East Indies, we think America's going to attack us. So you know what? We'll bomb America for no apparent reason. And then they'll destroy us. Sounds good. So let's do that. Let's set a date. What do you think? December 7th? Sounds good to me. And then America's like, yo, man, you bombed us. That's not cool. We're gonna destroy you. And then they just fucking just destroy Japan and drop a bunch of bombs. And then they take their men across here and they land on Britain, and they're like, Germany, why haven't you invaded Britain? And Germany's like, because we attacked Russia. They couldn't invade Finland, for some reason, and we're like, I don't know. So we attack them, and we've pushed them back to Moscow, and we've pushed down Stalingrad, but our men there are getting destroyed. I don't know. And then the United States is like, okay, well, we'll invade you in France. And so they invade them, and then they push, and then the Soviets push back, and the Soviets and Americans get to Berlin at about the same time, and then they split Europe in half. And, this half becomes democracies, and this half becomes part of Soviet Union, and Japan becomes a democratic independent country, and Korea becomes free, but then North Korea is like, we want to be communist, and then South Korea is like, we don't want to be communist. So there's a civil war there, and the Americans send people there, and so on and so forth. You probably know the rest. Yeah. That's my history of World War II, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you really enjoyed it. You probably didn't. We don't want that little production. Nope, we don't. We want to produce clothes. We want to produce some stuff. What do we want to produce, guys? Let's figure it out. I think we're gonna go with truck movable. Give us some more infantry. Build them as reserves, and we'll build 2 of those bad boys. Putting that at 26. Sounds good to me. Let's do it. Let's do it. I gotta take a drink from my 2-liter A&W bottle that has water in it. Ah, delicious. Does a slight root beer tang there, though. Just a slight one. And why is it freaking out here? Just completely, utterly freaking out. Industrial efficiency and stuff has completed. Why are we not producing these at all? That's odd. I do not understand. Okay, we're producing them now. Good, they'll be done in December. On the 22nd. So that's good. That is very good. Very, very good. What else is going on in the world? Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. America for a long time was non-interventionist, or at least they claimed to be non-interventionist, because in Japan during the Boshin War period, which is when my other Let's Play, Shogun 2 Total War Fall of the Samurai takes place, they broke open the Japanese sort of embargo on the world, and they supported the imperial uprising, which is interesting because eventually, they had to take down the imperial and reinstall a new form of government. So it sort of goes back to, they've done the same thing in Iraq and Afghanistan recently, but it's a much longer, older American tradition than you might think of installing an American sympathizing government and then having it turn against them, because that happened in Iraq with Saddam Hussein, and in Afghanistan with the Taliban. America gave most of the weapons that the Taliban used against the United States Armed Forces in the recent wars, and to Saddam Hussein, they gave them most of those weapons that they used against our men when we invaded them. And that's another interesting thing is, I think a lot of Americans, I'm an American. I was born in the United States of America. I have lived abroad. I lived in New Zealand for 5 years, but I'm an American. I was born in Chicago, raised in Portland, Oregon, where I currently reside. But I think a lot of Americans don't really don't really have an open mind to a lot of things. I think we're a really close-minded group of individuals. We don't really look at a lot of other things. Like, when I started doing this, I started reading about fascism, and I heard a quote that says, "Fascism is the most misused word of the century," and I'm inclined to agree with that quote because, Americans would take bully as a good way of describing what a fascist is. But that's not true. A fascist is actually a very interesting form of government, and it does have its advantages and disadvantages, just like democracy does. The good thing about fascism is that it's a really fast sort of government forum. And in democracy, our president can maybe pass, 5, 8 bills max during an 8-year period of their rule, I guess one might say, or holding office. Whereas in just a year, Mussolini could pass like a couple hundred bills. You know what I mean? So, and especially in modern times when everything's moving so quickly, a democratic government form is just a little bit too slow. Not that I'm saying that I'm pro-fascist or anything. I really think that there are a lot of problems with fascism. But you have to admit there are certain parts of it that kind of make sense. And another good example of this is another good example. My example there was that most Americans wouldn't be inclined to even read about fascism or understand how fascism works or understand the ideals behind fascism. Another good example is I recently saw a film called. It was a good film. It was directed by Clint Eastwood. An American hero, maybe, an American icon, Clint Eastwood. He directed this film about the Battle of Iwo Jima. It was called Letters from Iwo Jima. It was a very good film, very well done, and it was about the Battle of Iwo Jima from the perspective of the Japanese soldiers that were on Iwo Jima. And it was a very moving film. It really opened my eyes to the fact that, Japan was fighting for some relatively debatable good reasons. They were fighting to, expand their country. They basically thought, America has holdings in the Pacific. They have pretty much a puppet government in the Philippines, which we pretty much did. The British have more holding. The British and the Netherlands have more holdings in the Pacific than we do. You know, so if they're allowed to be so expansionistic and imperialistic, why can't we do that? Why can't we invade China? Why can't, we invade Burma? Why can't we do this as well? That's what you guys have been doing for a long time. Why aren't we allowed to do this as well? So how come when we do this, you embargo us? How come when we do how come when you embargo us, you don't expect us to try and take back lands that can allow us to support ourselves? Which kind of makes sense, you know what I mean? It really does. So, like when Iraq embargoed the United States, what did we do? We invaded them. And they were corrupt. You may say, no, Annex, we invaded Iraq because they were corrupt. Well, they were corrupt a long time before that. Saddam Hussein was crazy probably since the day he was born. And we supported him for like 10 years. Longer, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not an expert on the matter. But when he embargoed us, we invaded him. So, they did the same thing. When we embargoed them, they attacked us. Only makes sense, right? Well, not really on either event, but, Cuba didn't attack us, we embargoed them, but, Anyway, so, it's a good film, and you want to know how well it did in the United States? It's a good film showing the war from a different perspective. It made about $5,000 in the United States, showing in 2 movie theaters. That is just sad. And what's even sadder is that doesn't surprise me. Well, in Japan, that film was #1 for about a month. I'm not exactly sure how long. It was at least a week, somewhere between a week and a month. It was #1. So yeah, that's just really sad that Americans would be so close-minded, not to think, let's go look at something from a different perspective, because we really don't. So yeah, and yeah, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on the matter. I like to keep an open mind. If you guys disagree with me on anything that I've just talked about, talk about it in the comments. I'm interested to hear your guys' opinion on this sort of thing, because even my opinion is not a cement opinion. I don't think there should be such a thing as a cement opinion. I think, if something comes along that, some facts or something that are good, hard fact, well, there's nothing really. I'm an agnostic, so I believe there's nothing that is a fact, but something that seems like, pretty likely to have happened, or pretty likely to be true, then you should, look at it. You should say, does that make sense? And if it does, you should change your opinion, because that's just so. If you guys disagree on anything that I just said, post some facts, and I'll certainly consider it. I always do. But I like to keep an open mind to everything, and I hope that you guys keep an open mind to everything as well. Take another drink. Take another drink. And it's August. In my last game, well, not my last game, but in the last play session of this that I did, we had an uprising in Ethiopia, like right here in this province, and they came to here, and our dude sort of came into here, but yeah. So what else can I talk about? I don't know. I suppose I can talk about political ideals and systems of government. I was sort of talking about that before with the whole fascism thing, but one thing I find interesting is that all forms of government are based on a ideal. It's like, take communism. Communism is based on the ideal that everyone's perfect. No one is greedy. Everyone cares about their neighbor just as much as they care for themselves, even more than they care for themselves. That's what the communist belief system pretty much is, and that you should be like that. And Christianism, or most religions, I never noticed these creases in the map, but most religions or most belief systems believe the same thing. Um, but the fact is that people aren't like that. People are greedy, people are corrupt, people care about themselves more than they care about anything else. I believe that deep down, everything that a human being does is out of greed or selfishness. The only reason we help someone is because we would feel bad if we didn't, and we feel good when we do help them. It's all pleasure pain principle, really. So Soviet so communism believes that, and it doesn't work because it's not true. Um, Democracy runs on the principle or ideal that everyone cares about government and politics. Everyone is interested in politics and government. Everyone understands politics and government, and everyone wants to be involved in politics and government. That, sadly as well, is not true. A lot of people don't understand government. In fact, I will quote Winston Churchill in saying that the best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with your average voter, and that is 100% true. Bush won an election. There, I just debunked democracy. Sorry if you're a conservative. I'm not. I'm a liberal, so yeah. I am a libertarian, though. I think it's interesting that the Republican Party has sort of become the Libertarian Party, you know, except for when it comes to like things like gay marriage or well, they're actually libertarian. Oh, a national decision to make. This did not happen to me last time.